Monkeyboy's YouTube channel is the greatest YouTube channel. It stands independently, dependently, intersubjectively, interdependently, all the above. I'm talking from the depths of my soul, so subscribe to his YouTube and Patreon.
Yes. Hello.
What's up? What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about atheism. Or your atheism. Yes. So I just think like God is just like a necessary existence for the laws of logic that we ground. I think that the laws of logic that we use kind of work because we have one that kind of encompasses these things, so we can assume that they're going to work in most cases.
So why should I accept any of that?
Because you use laws of logic to come to conclusions about the state of the world.
So I use the laws of logic, therefore they must have a necessary grounding? I don't get it.
Yeah, so even when people use the laws of logic to justify the laws of logic, they're kind of assuming that there's a fundamental
Who are you talking about? Me?
Just in general. I'm not talking about you specifically. I haven't been.
Let's just talk about you and me.
Okay, let's talk about you and me. Do you use the laws of logic to understand the world?
Let's just say yes.
Okay, do you believe in objective reality? Do you believe that there's a reality that
external world? Sure.
It is truly existing outside our perceptions?
There's an external world, fine.
Okay. Do you believe this external world holds information?
Depends on what you mean by information.
For example, how many items?
Tree rings information? Are tree rings information?
Tree rings, yeah, that's information.
Okay, then yeah, there's information in the world.
Okay, or DNA.
Sure.
So there's a number to these things, or there's a quantification.
I don't know, but we use numbers to describe
mathematically. Do you believe there's a mathematical quantification of atoms in your phone? We know atoms exist. Do you think there's a number of atoms in your phone?
Yeah, I would say that there's a description. There's mathematical terms, and we use that to describe the stuff that's around us. Sure. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So within that, right? Would you say that because these things are truly exist, that they need something to hold this information, or do you disagree that these things?
You mean like atoms?
Yeah, the atoms in something. Yes.
So what was the question about what atoms?
I'm asking you if they're objective.
What was the question about the atoms?
The question about the atoms is if there is a if there is a truly existent a number of atoms within any given object, or in the universe, for example.
I thought I answered this question, but there was a question that followed up after I answered. We have descriptions, we have terms, and we use those terms to describe things around us.
Yeah. I asked about objective, an objective world, an objective experience, an experience that is outside the lenses of others, or
I already know. What was the most recent question you asked?
Honestly, that's what I thought. The most recent question was asked is does this number truly exist, and does the
number truly exist?
Yeah.
Do the atoms truly exist?
The atoms, we agree that the atoms truly exist. I'm asking you if the quantity of atoms within any given object truly exists.
How's that different than asking if the atoms exist?
That's fine. You can put it that way.
Oh yeah, I think atoms exist. Yeah.
Okay, so do you believe, or do you think that you are comprised of multiple atoms?
My body is made of a lot of atoms. Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know the number, do you know the number?
No.
Okay, so if you don't know the number, in no mind, the minds that we have access to, at least right now, do not know the numbers, then do you believe that it's logically consistent that there must be a mind that grasps these numbers and grasps these laws of logic that we use to understand?
You're asking me if no one knows the numbers, then no human, let's say, knows the numbers, then must I think there's another mind, a non-human mind that knows the number?
I'm just asking you if that's logically consistent with you or no.
Logically consistent? I don't see why you get one from the other. If no human knows, it doesn't mean a non-human knows.
Not necessarily. It's not to say that if one
yes, necessarily.
No, I'm not saying no. That's not necessarily to say that if you don't know a fact, then I must. If we're the only two humans,
you're saying that because if no human knows the number of atoms, it doesn't mean that therefore there's a non-human mind that knows the number of atoms.
I'm saying no consciousness within because no conscious being within reality is able to hold just even conceptualize these numbers.
So no minds know it.
Yes, no minds within reality know these things.
Okay, I don't know why you're adding the within reality, but that's fine. No minds know it. Okay.
Yes, no minds know these things.
Okay.
Therefore, there must be a mind that knows these things.
No, but that would be part of reality, as you would say, right? If no minds know it, then no mind will have the knowledge.
A transcendental mind could have the knowledge.
Is that part of reality?
No, a transcendental existence.
So if it's not part of reality, it's not real, right?
No, it exists, but is not a part of our reality.
It exists, but it's not real.
No, it exists, but is not within the universe. It's not found within the universe.
Oh, when you say reality, you mean universe.
Yeah, universe. That's what I said.
Oh, no, you didn't say that. Okay.
Maybe I did.
All right, so let's rewind, because I thought you said reality, which is different than universe.
I said that like maybe earlier, like within the universe.
So
atoms in the universe.
So if you're saying that if no mind in the universe knows it, then there must be a mind outside the universe that knows it?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to put it like that.
I don't know why anyone would accept that.
Okay, so take for example, like we have, once again, going back to these laws that we use to understand the world, to conceptualize the world, right? To create epistemological conclusions and ontological conclusions. Now, we don't have 100% confidence in these things. We can get a very high confidence, like intervals. We can get 99% like confidence intervals, like when doing statistics, for example. But we cannot truly be 100% confident about anything within the universe, because we accept that we have subjective minds. I'm saying that because all things, or I'm positing that all things in the universe are finite and have a, if you want to say like expiration date, they're deficient, then therefore, because all things within the universe are deficient, there must be something that is not deficient. So kind of like, I guess it's similar.
I'm having a hard time following, right? Yes. So if all minds in the universe are finite, what are you getting from that? You're milking that, I think, too much.
Or not even specifically minds, but all things within the universe, not just minds. That's just relating to laws, right? But I'm saying even outside of that, like in terms of material, all
material things are finite. Therefore,
they're all deficient. Therefore, there must be something. What was I saying? Like non-deficient, like something that is truly perfect.
Okay, but why would anyone accept that?
Okay, because like for example, if there's a lack of knowledge, then that must mean that there is like truly knowledge. Or if
why would I accept that?
You don't believe. So do you believe in truth? Let's talk about that. Like, do you believe in fundamental
truth? You're treating truth like a box or something. Like, I don't think of truth as an entity.
Well,
it's not like a thing that there's truth over there. I don't think of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying like truth in this sense is a fundamental reality, not necessarily as an entity.
Do I think there's an external world?
Not. I mean, I guess. I mean, even
you asked me that.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm asking that even within this external world, do you believe that this external world is grounded in absolute truth?
Do I think reality is grounded in quote unquote absolute truth? I don't even know what that means.
Okay, so atoms, right? Atoms. These are all things that are constantly moving in motion. These are things that we grasp onto. But we know matter and atoms, they move differently from when they are being observed and when they're not being observed. Yes or no? Do you agree to that?
Sure.
Okay, so do you believe that there is a grounding, or do you believe that there is a reality where all things can be perceived as they truly are and not perceived as they are in motion or in a specific state of being?
Not so sure what you're asking me. It sounds
like... Do you believe in a transcendental mind or a transcendental reality that grounds the laws that we...
Sounds like you're talking about like a Kantian sense of noumena or something like that. Are you a Kantian?
No, I'm not Christian. I'm Muslim.
A Kantian.
What is that?
So like Kant thought that there's the world of appearances and then there's the world as it is, and that there's some kind of limitation of the human mind that we can only really get in the world of appearances, or at least he called it the phenomenal world. And we really can't know about how things are in themselves. That's what it sounds like you're talking about.
Oh yeah, to an extent. So even if we agree that there's like a quote unquote like a objective reality, even this reality in itself is deficient in ways.
Right. If you agree with Kant, then Kant's thing is that there are no good arguments for the existence of God.
I'm not. Well, I'm not saying necessarily. I'm saying like I'm not agreeing with all consequences of his like argumentation. I'm just saying I agree to like the premise that
there the dichotomy, like there's the world in itself and there's the world as it presents to us. Okay.
And even
there's a term for that that's called transcendental idealism. But is that what you're trying to talk about?
Not necessarily. So like, let's go to back to like you were talking about your perception or conception of like time. You don't have a specific stance on it, right? Like when you're talking to somebody else, not in our conversation.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay, so like you said that you posited that you would lean towards the universe being like eternal, right?
That's a separate question from the time question, but I have an intuition the universe the natural world has always existed, but I could be wrong.
Okay, but I'm saying like, do you like? Would you agree that like the universe is like comprised of space time, like it's made up of space time?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, maybe there's a sense in which that's true, but I wouldn't say that.
Okay, then like how do you
You're
define the
treating
universe?
space and time like things, like parts. I don't really think of it that way.
Okay, well, how do you think of it?
How do I think of the universe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the best way to get what I'm thinking about is look through a telescope and see all the galaxies and the planets and stuff.
Oh, speaking of which,
Right, so it's all of that stuff, right?
Yeah,
The stuff that is all planets, galaxies, nebula, stars, whatever. That's all that stuff is the universe.
Okay, and where do these things come from?
Where do stars come from?
Mm-hmm.
From dust, I believe. And
Okay, I'm saying like, do these things all have like a common origination point, or no?
I mean, the universe was condensed at some point and it started to expand, but I can't really say much about what happened before that.
Okay, so if if it went from point A to point B, then there was a like a change within like the essence of the universe, I guess you could say. Like it went from being big to being small to being big. Like just to put it simply.
So you're asking me, wait, repeat the question?
Okay, I'm saying that like logistically, the universe has a beginning or a point of reference. Like if from one point,
So
even
look,
if you don't,
this is all I believe, right? This is all I believe. I think
beginning.
at some point there was a natural world, and that natural
Yes.
world had a condensed universe that began to expand. That's all I know. Anything more, right? If you ask me, I'm going to say I don't know.
Okay. So then from there, if someone posits to you that there is a internal mover of said like actions and all actions within the universe and all like causal events, then if you do not posit to know anything outside of that, like what is your like contention with that idea? I think you were talking about this with Elijah.
A cause to what? The universe expanding?
Yes.
I'm fine to say that there might have been a cause to that.
Okay. And then from there, like cause of all things and like all things to like fundamentally like exist and to move. Like that's kind of what I was talking about earlier.
I thought you were talking about the cause of expansion. You're saying the cause of the natural world?
Yeah, like the
I'm not so sure if there's a cause to the natural world. I'm not inclined to think that.
I mean, wouldn't the natural world be a consequence of the expansion of the universe, or no?
I would think of the natural world as distinct from the universe as we know it.
Okay, so when you by natural world, you're not actually you're not referring to like Earth. You're referring to like a way of looking at reality as a whole. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, natural reality as being reality that doesn't have things like gods, spirits, souls, moral properties.
Well, I'm not talking about like naturalism, necessarily like a way of looking at the world that's devoid of like ideas of God. What I'm referring to when I say like natural world
Thanks for the raid.
is a way of looking at reality that isn't like it's not that's not necessarily dependent. It is not like dependent on.
Be very clear about your question.
Okay. Do you have an issue with something that grounds ideas and grounds concepts?
I don't know what grounds means.
Okay, as in like a God with attributes.
Yeah, I'm an atheist.
Show up in the world.
I'm not a fan of God existing. I'm an atheist.
I mean, well, I'm saying so you're saying that you do not posit anything about the necessarily like the nature of time, the way that things work. You just agree that there was point A, there was a point A, there's a point B, and you're saying that it does not contradict your values or beliefs to think that there is a mover from point A to point B. Like this kind of goes back to the infinite regress conversation you were having with Elijah. Like similarly.
So you're asking me if there could be a cause to the expansion of the universe?
A cause to all actions, like all things.
If there's a cause to the universe?
Sure. No, we can start there.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Okay, but what's a logical contradiction to that? Like, what's your
I'm saying
like?
there is.
Okay, so like, if someone like posits that and you don't have like a equal or like contradictory like interpretation, then would you not have to accept that? That is, that if someone posits,
there are a lot of things that are not contradictory. I don't think unicorns are contradictory.
Yeah, but not necessarily. I think that's not really analogous. But I'm saying these things that at least
saying that we don't want to say that if it's not contradictory, we have to believe in it.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying if anything is non-contradictory that it's inherently true. I'm saying that something that is more likely as like
What's
more
here
that the universe is caused. That all things.
Why would we think that it's likely?
Because we know that within observing like the universe and at least things in the world that we experience, that all things have like a causal relationship.
You don't want to say that, right? Because then God would have a cause.
Well, back to what I was saying. Like, this is back to the conversation. I didn't see how it finished, but your conversation with Elijah, when you were talking about outlets, like you're talking about outlets and carrying energy or carrying power, and then requiring a source. And you're basically you're saying that it's more likely, it's more logical that these extension cords just carry power.
I'm saying there's no contradiction in his example.
No contradiction in example of needing a power source or needing a power wall.
I don't think you can derive a contradiction if you were to have say infinite regress of power cords or extension cords being plugged into each other, and then power's been traveling through it always. You don't see a contradiction there.
That the power cords just hold charge in themselves.
That they have a charge. I don't know what
they have a charge. Yeah. So like, okay, that's. I feel like this is kind of a redundant way of putting it, but where does this charge come from? How does what power cord just has?
Thought experiment. It's always been there. It doesn't come from anywhere.
It doesn't come from anywhere. So you believe that energy can just be.
This is a thought experiment. I don't think there is an infinite regress of power cords.
Okay, so you don't believe infinite regress then, in general. You don't.
I don't.
You're just doing a thought experiment. It's not something you even like.
I'm just saying that it's not illogical. If someone were to say that they think there's an infinite regress of, let's say, moments or events, I'm not going to present a philosophical objection to that.
Okay. But you're saying that's like you don't have an objection to things requiring a cause, but you're also saying that things do not need to have a cause by saying you believe that they can just have a charge.
Sorry, what?
Not all action, like, so you're saying like, so even God would need a cause. So that was kind of like one of your conclusions.
No, I thought you said all things need a cause. That would, if that's true, then God would need a cause.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't believe that all things need a cause.
That's
so right.
I don't hold to that principle.
Yeah, you don't hold to that principle. So you believe that there can be existences that do not require a cause, or that are like evident within themselves. Okay, so it's logically possible. So if there is at least a pattern of deficient and inefficient deficient things in the universe itself, at least, like, I don't know if you hold to the Big Bang Theory, but based on our understanding, is finite, and it also is like, going to at some point start to collapse in on itself, or it's expanding, going from point A to point B, so it has like potential to change. Then you're saying it's still you still think it's less logical that there is something that is perfect in all its like attributes and aspects, if all we have are things that are
don't see why would why would need to invoke a perfect thing to explain anything.
Okay, so once again, like, let me go back to the beginning. We're just asking you, like, as an atheist, like, what is even your worldview then? If you just
gods.
Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, what you don't say there's any nature of reality. You don't posit anything about the nature of reality. You just say
atheism is a denial of a substantive worldview. It's saying this worldview is false, but it's not itself a substantive worldview.
So you don't have like a substance in your worldview?
No. Atheism is not a substantive worldview.
Okay, but I'm asking you specifically. So I get that you're atheist, but you're like, do you have any other substance outside of that? I'm asking you, like, what would you posit in response to that? Like, no, that's wrong. This is what it is most likely is. Or you just, or are you just saying, no, that's wrong?
Yeah, that's what atheists, they say, no, that's wrong. And we disagree amongst each other about all sorts of other things.
So I'm not talking about morality. or like ethics.
Yeah, look, there's only one thing that you can guarantee atheists agreeing on, right? That there are no gods. That's the only thing that you can get us to agree on. Everything else is up for grabs. We debate ourselves.
Okay. Well, I mean, that answers most of my questions. I appreciate your time.
Thanks for your question. Have a good one.